We're here today to take a look at the new Finnmaster F11. It's enjoying its world debut here in Dusseldorf, and it's taken its place as the new flagship of the Finnmaster fleet. Now this is a particularly interesting boat for a couple of very good reasons. After all, Finnmaster already produces a range of pilot house boats and also a range of day cruisers. At the top end, that 9-metre day cruiser comes in the ST variant, so you wonder why in particular they've generated this new F model. Well, actually, this is the largest boat in the fleet, as I say, at 11 metres. It's outboard powered, it's very quick, but it's a boat that you can aspire to from the top ends of the two ranges I've just mentioned. Also, this boat is the Grandezza 30. Now this is quite a grown-up and gentlemanly boat, a single inboard diesel, quite traditional, appeals to the older generation. So they've deemed it necessary to generate something a little fresher and more youthful. As I say, it's got outboard propulsion, a slightly fresher aesthetic. You see the neon orange of the F11 branding, but essentially it's the same boat, the same hull, the same top sides, the same hard top, the same deck layouts. It's basically the same boat, built on the same production line. And yet with these outboard engines, it has a very different vibe indeed. And the performance is impressive. With twin 250s, you can expect around about 44 knots. With twin 300s, 47 knots. And apparently with these twin 350s, you're looking at a 50-knot boat. And let's step on board at the aft end. This obviously has to be reconfigured because the outboard engines steal a little of the swim platform. So instead of an aft-facing settee, what we have here is a very neat fender basket. If I just pull that open now, you'll see that we've got plenty of space in there, dedicated mouldings there for your 4 fenders. It's a similar principle to the Grandezza, but in a pared back, slightly smaller version, just so we've got extra space back there for the outboard engines. If we make our way round into the cockpit itself, you'll see that we have plenty of seating in here. Now we've got an aft bench facing forward. We've got an L-shaped seating area further forward. With that table out, you can also top this with a cushion, use this telescopic leg, sink it into the space and use it as a little extra bed, or else just as a lounging space. It's under discussion as to exactly what should be done with it, but you can see the flexibility built into the base layout here. Storage is also a major plus on this boat, as they're at pains to illustrate to me. They tell me that they counted to about 37 storage spaces before they gave up counting. And as you're walking around this boat, it's perfectly evident that they're not lying about that. We've got a nice big volume space down inside this aft bench. But it's not so much about those big spaces for me, it's about the attention to detail with the smaller spaces. If we look under this dinette, you see we've got not 1, not 2, but 3 pull-out drawers. Look across to the starboard side, well, we've got the galley unit here. This in itself is quite a neatly designed piece of work. We've got this fridge freezer at the aft end of it, and it can be opened from either side. We've seen that on Grandezzas in the past. Really nice little feature. Plenty of drawers there, more storage space. We look on top, we've got a good sink there and an additional one just further aft. And little steel bars for your hot pans. We've got that diesel hob. Only 1 ring, but presumably there'll be options for more in the future. And as we move further forward, again, storage. Everywhere you look. More storage here, more storage beneath the co-pilot seat, more storage beneath the co-pilot seat's feet. It really is quite something, and it continues when we go down below. But before we do that, let's have a look over at the co-pilot's position. Now what I really like about this saloon is the sheer scale of these side windows. They're absolutely massive and the views through them are fantastic. You can opt for some windows set into there, and the same of course on the skipper's side, but it's very attractive like this. Now I'd say this seat is big enough for 2 people perhaps, be a little cosy maybe, but it's certainly larger than just a 1-person seat. And ahead of you, you've got a good grab rail, plus 2 sections of storage, one there on top, which could feasibly be used for your charts, another one lower down with a charging point for your phones. And if we look across to the starboard side, well, there's the helm seat. They're looking to improve and update that, make it feel a little bit more high-end. But the position itself is very good indeed. This will go forward and after. It'll also spin so that you can face across to the guys at that dinette or to the people on the co-pilot seat. And if I turn back to the helm station, you'll see the wheel is also adjustable. There's plenty of space up here for a relatively large MFD. That's a 16-inch plotter. And that's an option. The standard is a 12-inch. And we've got the bow thrusters here, plus the joystick, the throttles, a little remote for that MFD. And this is a nice touch too. An armrest. You just perch your elbow in there. It's really comfortable position. And then if you lift that up, you've got an additional storage space, again with some chargers. It's very well thought through. Now stepping up onto the raised section of helm there, that puts your eye line pretty much here. You might want an extra inch or two, I think, just so you can see properly the parameters of the boat, but you can certainly see the bow. So it's pretty effective, and the ergonomic sophistication of this space is pretty good in every other regard. It's quite a big helm station actually. It feels like the helm of a larger boat. Very well appointed. Now stepping down to the lower deck, you're greeted by quite an open plan kind of layout with a forward scissor berth, a head compartment on the port side, and a door to starboard that leads you to a mid cabin that runs transverse beneath that saloon. Now this is not necessarily the way it will be on future models. Because it's a relatively compact space here, they don't really want to use two bulkheads. So we have a privacy curtain here and a bulkhead here, but they're thinking they might actually change that around and put a bulkhead across here to cordon off the forward cabin and a curtain here for an extra bit of privacy for that mid cabin. But let's head aft and check that out right now. There's a little step up and you're greeted with a small seat. There's storage in there, obviously, that's what they do. More storage behind here. And there's a decent window there too. Reasonable headroom. I'm a 6-footer, so it's pretty much 6'1", I would say. And if I bend down and creep a little further aft, you'll see this is the head end of the bed. If I point you over to the port side, you'll see that in spite of relatively limited vertical elevation beneath that saloon, and actually this makes loads of sense. I'll make my way in here and put my feet beneath that saloon deck towards the port side, lie myself down. Well, I'm nowhere near the foot of the bed. It must be a good, well, best part of 7 feet, I would have thought. It's really broad too, tremendous size of bed. And at the head end here, where the deck head lifts, well, this is a pretty comfortable spot. In terms of the volume and scale, the shape of it is pretty well judged. You could definitely sit here and read a book and relax. And you've got good views too. You've got a big, deep plunging hull window here on the starboard side. Excellent views of the sea, nice natural light. And you get additional views and a bit more natural light from this long window that looks out onto the saloon deck. It's quite an impressive space. So much so, in fact, that if this were my boat, as things stand, with this rigid bulkhead to access this mid cabin and the privacy curtain to access the forward cabin, I would choose this as my master cabin and use the forward cabin, I think, for guests. And let's spin ourselves around and go and check that forward cabin out. As I say, it uses scissor berth with the head end aft, relatively tapered as you can see, so that makes loads of sense. Again, there's loads of storage, high level storage up top, storage in the central section there. There's also storage beneath the beds here and little shelving units next to these reading lights. Nicely fitted out in light oak. That's an oak faced ply. Very nicely put together. We've got attractive inset LED strips in that deck head as well. And the heads compartment on the port side, well, that's a decent size too. Quite nice and bright. No natural light to speak of, quite a low level window there and an opening porthole next to the sink. A relatively compact toilet and the shower over there. No separate shower, no partition for the shower, but it's certainly big enough to make it practical if you choose to use this boat to go for an extended cruise. It's very clear then that this new Finnmaster F11 makes all kinds of sense. If you enjoy the idea of the Grandezza 30, but you want something a bit faster, fresher, more sporting, more youthful, well, this is perfect. And if you're an existing Finnmaster customer, perhaps you own a T9 or a Pilot 8, and you're looking to graduate to something bigger, more substantial, well, now, in the form of the new Finnmaster F11, you have exactly that.